Hi everybody, my name is Fred and welcome to Personal Time Outdoors. This is my last video on useful camping knots, and today I'm actually going to talk about two different knots because they go hand in hand. They're also tied almost exactly the same way with just one difference between the two. Those are the taut line hitch and two half hitches. Now the two half hitches knot is used to secure a rope to a tree or a post at one end. And then the taut line hitch is used to also secure a rope to a tree or a post, but it's adjustable, so you can adjust where the knot lies in order to adjust tension on it. They're very useful to use when you're setting up a shelter or a clothesline or something along those lines. So we're going to start off with two half hitches. Now, if you guys watched my introductory video to the knot series where I fused the rope and tied the square knot, I mentioned that the key to tying these knots is to find a way to tie them and stick to it. Don't change up. So I'm going to show you the way that I tie the two half hitches. What I do is I wrap it around the tree or the post like this. And what I do is I make sure that I keep the short end in my left hand, always in my left hand. And that's the way that I remember it. So what I do then is you pass it underneath the long end, which is on the right hand side, and you put it through the loop. After it goes through, you want to return the short end back to your left hand, just like it was when you first started. You're going to go underneath the rope a second time, and you're making a new loop here when you do that. So you go through the second loop and pull it tight. Dress it up, and that's it. I pull on this very hard. It does not slip. It does not move. In fact, I'm shaking the whole tree here. So it's an excellent knot for securing your rope to a tree or a post. But go ahead and do that a second time so you don't have to rewind. Again, start off with the short side in your left hand, underneath and through the loop. Return the short side to your left hand, go underneath again and through the new loop and pull it tight. And that's all there is to it. Now we're going to move on to the taut line hitch. And that starts the same exact way. Again, I'm starting with short side of my left hand. I'm going to pass it underneath, but this time I'm going to go through my first loop twice instead of just once. I'm going to go 1, 2. After I do that, I'm going to return the short side to my left hand once again, pass it underneath, and now you see I've created a new loop here. I'm going to go through that. Go ahead and pull it tight. Now the difference is, as you see, if I hold this knot, I can slide the rope and adjust it. And no matter where I put it, I'm pulling hard on this rope. It does not slip. I can put it here, put tension on it, it does not slip. I can move it out here, put tension on it, it does not slip. I'll go ahead and tie that again a second time so you don't have to rewind. Again, short side is in my left hand, underneath, through twice, short side back of my left hand where I started. I go back underneath the rope and through the new loop that I just created. And that's all there is to it. So now we're going to put it all together and I'm going to show you a practical application. What I'm doing is I'm setting up a clothesline here. And on this end, I tied my two half hitches. Down over on this tree here, I tied my taut line hitch. Now, as you can see right now, the rope is really loose and dangly. It's not really useful. But what I can do is I can tighten up this taut line hitch to make it snug. Let me show you how. You can see by sliding it down, I've made this really tight. And I can pull on this and it does not come loose. So now I've got a pretty effective clothesline. Where this knot combination really shines though is setting up a tarp or a makeshift rain shelter. You can also use it for putting the rain fly in your tent. I set up this demonstration shelter here using just those two knots, the taut line hitch and the 2 half hitches. Let me show you how. Now I started off with the original clothesline that I set up previously, and I went ahead and I draped my little tarp over that. So you might recall that I've got 2 half hitches down at this end and a taut line hitch down here. Then the guy lines on each corner, again, 2 half hitches, and down there at the stake, I've got a taut line hitch that I use to adjust it and make it as tight as I need it to be. Incidentally, I needed these 2 lines to be longer, so I used my square knot to secure 2 lines together and make them longer. And I just repeated that process on all 4 corners. Again, 2 half hitches, taut line hitch down here at the stake end. Same thing for the back of the tent. Of all the knots that I demoed in this basic camping knot series, the 2 half hitches and the taut line hitch are the 2 that I use by far the most when I go camping. So those are the 2 that I would really recommend practicing. And like I mentioned in the introduction video, get yourself a couple pieces of rope and just practice, practice, practice. And like I said, you want to find one way to tie the knot and continue to use that same way over and over again. If you practice it for a few days, it'll become muscle memory and you'll be able to just tie it on a whim when you're out camping. Now I also mentioned that you can use the taut line hitch to secure your rain fly to your tent. Now a lot of times tents come with these little plastic toggles on the rain fly. And I've had mixed results with these things. Sometimes they work great, sometimes they slip like crazy. I think it just depends on the quality of the toggle that's made by the tent manufacturer. Some make them better than others. So if your toggle is slipping, just ditch it and go ahead and use a taut line hitch down by the stake end, and it'll work a lot better. You can adjust it, you can set it wherever you like, and I think you'll find a lot better result with that. That about wraps this one up. I hope you guys found that useful, and thanks for watching. Please be sure to check out my other 2 videos on basic camping knots, and if you found this video helpful, please click the subscribe button.